Welcome to Will at Work. I'm Kevin. Today we're looking at the RetroPlay 200 games RetroPlay controller from MyArcade. MyArcade is one of these retro companies. It's not generic in the sense of, you know, a lot of stuff that comes out of China. You don't even know where it comes from half the time. MyArcade actually has a presence, online for releasing emulators, systems. I don't want to say emulators, but the systems, cartridge-based as well as clones, handhelds, and so on and so forth, and various levels of quality. But they are around, and this one in particular is nothing to write home about. But I do like to get systems that are unique in some way rather than just the same old clone system over and over again. So in this case, we have this very tiny joystick with two buttons that's a TV game. Plugs into the TV and lets you play with this really tiny handheld system. Runs on a couple of AA's, I believe. And where does it say? But it runs on three AA's. So very, very tiny. This is really the kind of thing you could just put in your pocket and take over to somebody's house, connect to their TV, assuming they have a composite in, and quickly get a game going or two. Now, we're not going to try this out. It's sealed, and I don't open up things that are sealed, but I will say that all of the games here are just generic games. And we have looked at some systems in the past that just play generic games, and they're awful. It was just terrible. Now, I don't know if all these games are terrible, but my guess is when you have 200 built-in games that are, not known brands, let's say, it's not going to be good. So there's no real point in even looking at this, on the system. But we do know it works because it's still sealed. And it's just a little novelty thing. It wasn't expensive, etc. We can kind of look at the back of the box here if my camera wants to play nice with the focus. There we go. And you can kind of see what some of these games look like. Right? I mean, there's really nothing here to... I know they're horrible, right? They look like your standard 8-bit, thrown together games. And a lot of times I feel like these games are made in North Korea. I don't know at all if that is the case, but I do know that, I've heard that, North Korea has a software development group that makes software, right, on the black market, and it's probably purchased by people in China very inexpensively, and then used here. So it's like they could make it in China, but China labor might be too expensive. So then they would outsource it to North Korea, where it's virtually pennies on the dollar to get the same thing built. And so I always think games like this, because if you had any kind of resources and you had a skill set to make a game, and you lived in a somewhat capitalist society, like, say, they do in China. I know it's a communist government, but it's a capitalist, market. Then you could go home and write a game yourself that's fun to play and release it on Android or whatever, and maybe make a few bucks, right? You know what I mean? And so the skill set that you would have to go from that to from this kind of thing to making a game that's actually fun isn't probably too much of a stretch. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's not too much of a stretch. And so where they can't do that kind of thing is in North Korea, right? You could be able to make all these mini games all day, but you don't have a free market. You can't sell them anywhere. There's no one to buy it anyway where you live. So you're stuck. There's nothing you can do except make these games and then push them off to whoever needs them. So that's kind of why I think maybe these were all written in North Korea. No way to prove that. Just something I just think about. And again, who knows? Somebody might chime in and be like, no, these all come from like some open source library somewhere or something. I'd be like, oh, okay, I have no idea. But my arcade RetroPlay controller, 200 games, just a cute little joystick thing, little novelty. Wanted to show you guys. Thanks for watching.